I know it's been a while. And I know I had that whole thing with Star Forge, but I tried to get back to work on it. Just wasn't feeling. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again, but this time I'm going to do it with a bit of a different system, though. Also from Sean Tompkins. We're going to be doing Sundered Isles. So this will be our first our session zero for Sundered Isles, where we will be discussing our world and our character. So let's get started. The idea for Sundered Isles is that it's very pirate based. It's golden age of piracy, or at least it can be golden age of piracy. Inspired, much like most pirate media is. And I rather enjoy it. Like, pirates have always been something I'm fascinated with, and I would love the opportunity to play around with such a world as we get here in Sundered Isles. So let's start with your realm. This is something from this. It's a question of what kind of world you're in, and that's something we will now discuss. So the book has three options right here: the seafaring, skyfaring, and the starfaring. I am not going to do them, any of them. I'm going to do something a little different, a little something that I've wanted to do for a while with this. I call it the Sandfaring Realm. It's a realm that, instead of being based around that whole thing with the sea, sky, or space. Yeah, because that's what the last one is. It's um Treasure Planet, or Spelljammer, basically. I want to do this idea of ship on a sea of sand, of uh, ships that work a lot like sailing ships, but move across the sand, on top of the sands, instead of like they were the seas. It's an interesting, and God, it was, of all things, kind of inspired by a movie called Sahara. If you've never seen it, it's not a great movie. It's not a super great movie. It's based on a novel by Clive Cussler, which in itself, ooh boy, that had some weird stuff in it. Not a bad book, but yeah, Cussler made some choices in that book. Um, uh, that's he made weird choices in a lot of his books. But anyway, there's this scene in the movie where they take the remains of a crashed plane, which got more of an explanation in the book, by the way. I'm getting off on a tangent. Turned it into a land sailor. So yeah, this idea of ships moving across the desert, bigger than that, probably bigger than anything that would be realistic, but it's a fun idea, and I would like to experiment with it and see what kind of world I could create within the Sundered Isles based on it. So we are going to be doing the Sandfaring Realm. So the question, of course, is how does the Sandfaring Realm work? Because this is something very new for Sundered Isles. How did how does it affect some of the questions for the truth? Let's start with the sundering itself. So, there's there's a rather interesting indie comic series called The Few and and Cursed, which is a very Western inspired series about a world where the water has basically vanished. I'm not entirely sure how. Actually, I don't think it was ever, but it's kind of the mystery. It's an old west, but in a world without water. So what? Let's start with the sundering. The sundering is, which is my point. Sorry. Yes. Um. Let's go with like sort of this idea of a desert world that once had water. And what could have created that? So let's go over some options. Let's see what the ghosts give us. That's a 91. That's interesting. Ooh, strange technologies unleashed a reality fracturing wave of cursed energy, forever reshaping the Isles. So yeah, sounds to me like perhaps the in some ancient time the world was reshaped. Maybe not even an ancient time, like reshaped by this great cataclysm, by the the end of the world coming in this. So okay, interesting. Okay, so who built it? That's the question we're going to have to answer. What and what is it? Magic? Is it technology? That's like perhaps whatever it was. Uh, like completely reshaped the world to create this sand sea, for a better lack of a better word, this massive desert where the islands are not really islands, but are more places, safe areas, and maybe some mountains that and mesas that create larger areas, which is where we'll get to the larger islands. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So I did do a bit of a write up for this. It is an event known as the Scorching. The way it goes is that a long time ago, a war consumed the Isles and unleashed strange magical energies onto the world. By the time it was over, during an event known as the Scorching, the oceans dried up, leaving a world where water is scarce. The world scorching has left an indelible impact on the world, and only the cursed remember the way it was before. It has been centuries, if not millennia at this point. The world has adapted, and water is now a very important resource. I mean, it was before, but like it is far more now because of the scorching. Which, of course, now raises the question: is there a way to reverse it? Is there a way to fix the world? Like, there's still rainfall. There's still what you would expect, but like things are completely different now. This could be some. This could have some interesting impact as we progress the story. Um, and so we will see how it goes. So, next up is the ruins. No, wait, sorry, relics. Why did I say ruins? Part, which is what remains of a lost or fallen people. So, actually, this will tie in nicely to what we were discussing about. Well, perhaps this could even be what happened to these to cause the scorching to a degree. So let's roll some dice. Okay, that's 10. The long history of the Isles is marked by disaster, war, and exodus. Abandoned and ruined sites are grim monuments to these events. Okay, that's interesting. So we previously established that this was that there was a war that caused caused the Sundered Isles to become basically a desert. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I think I can work with this. Uh, any of these, actually, all three of these could have worked. um, but yeah, this could be like, there could be relics, there could be pieces. Maybe, maybe sort of, ancient super weapon, like the Pluton from One Piece. Yeah, yeah, I'm pulling that reference. I've been watching a lot of One Piece. um, I think I can make this work. Our relics are disasters and empires. The state of the world in a sea of sand is a testament to man's hubris. Relics dot the islands and the sands around them of ancient empires that waged war with one another and brought ruin to this world. Some say that the weapons that destroyed the world still are hidden out there in the wastes, waiting for someone to find. So yeah, there's a bit of a possible plot hook right there. Um, of course, it raises a lot of interesting questions, like if is there a way to restore? Like, could finding the relics again reverse what was done, or perhaps they can't? Maybe the world's doomed to be this way forever. Which either way could be interesting. Yeah. Actually, that could be an interesting way to explore what would happen to a society that is eternally trapped in that has gotten used and adapted to the life on desert seas, so to speak, and how they would change. But we'll save that for like end game if we go that direction at all. Um, hmm, ancient weapons. Hmm. Perhaps there's something we can do with this, and we will find out. So next up is the modern era truth, which is the state of technology. So let's roll it. That is a two. It's an age of sail. Sailing ships navigate the farthest reaches and weather the fiercest storms. Their cannons unleash devastating barrages against rivals or raiders, and their crews wield muskets and blades to defend their decks. Some commanders plot a course through hazardous waters, or in this case, sands, with chart and sextant, while others rely on deeper understanding of sea and sky. And above all else, we trusted the loyalty of our shipmates and the strength of our vows. That's interesting. I think I can work with that. All right, let's see what I can do. So this has created what I have dubbed the age of sail and sand. The sandy world of the Isles is one that has crossed sailing ships, especially made to sail the sands like it was the sea. So, likely, runner. I'm not actually entirely sure how this would work, but like, there's definitely ways. Ways that we will explore as things go on. Sandy Sea is one that we have adapted to despite its challenges, and life on the islands goes on. Some relics from the old world still are used, but they are often hoarded by those who have them. So yeah, it's still very much Age of Sail. The ships are wind powered as they cross the seas with sands. Um, and people have just adapted. Like, you have everything you expect from the Age of Sail. They thought it's very transplanted to this. Of course, the question is, how the heck do ships move across the sand? With the inspiration, which is sand yachting, they have wheels. Maybe it's wheels. Maybe it's like special attachments to them. That's an interesting question, actually. Um, like something allows them to move it. I think maybe there's some magic to it. Um, this is something I'm probably going to have to think about. But the point is, it does it somehow. So the next up is the Iron Vow. So this should be interesting, since this is the significance of iron and sworn vows. This is uh, a pretty common. Well, actually, no, central, not common. Uh, truth to Sundered Isles and Iron Sworn. So let's see what we get. Uh, one of the first to come out. Okay, 97. Ooh. Uh, since the distant time when iron was first hammered into form, seafaring folk of this world carried iron bondstones as sacred keepsakes. That's interesting. Each bondstone is unique, a relic of kin and culture passed from one generation to the next. They are said to connect the soul of its keeper to their homeland or loved ones as if by an invisible thread. Thus, if lost at sea, our spirit may return home rather than remain entombed in the remorseless depths. We swear our vows upon bondstones as promises that follow us to our death and beyond. But bondstones can also embody the curses of lost lives and forsaken vows, and bearing that weight can make them feel as heavy as a ship's anchor. Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. This one right here. Uh, I think that's an interesting truth, and one that we can definitely work with. Perhaps even to a degree that it's this idea that we're holding on to this despite the dangerous nature of the Sand Sea. This is a good idea. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I think I can make this work. So, uh, the So we do have this now. Bondstones were originally made by an ancient seafaring civilization. Think like the Phoenicians or whatever it might be, if we want to make a comparison to real world. That imbued them with strange magic. To this day, the tradition is kept up amongst sailors and shipwrights, mostly to give people a way to remember their home. But there is still powerful magic to these objects that can create challenges and consequences for those that try to break their vows. Which again ties in very much into this idea of how the iron vows are meant to work. But also, it further ties into the theme of ships and ancient civilizations that we're kind of working on here with this particular take on the Sundered Isles. So, I think this is going to be interesting, and we will have some interesting promise with it. Okay, so next is navigation. This is the sort of how we get around, how people and places are connected in the world of the Sundered Isles. So we're going to roll. That's a 54. This is a fun one. A series I watch actually got this one too. We rely on the ancient traditions and knowledge of the star mark to navigate these perilous seas. This is an interesting one, especially for the sand, the whole sand thing we have going on. This is not since this is not normal ocean, so there could be, I think there would be maps, old maps probably. Probably there are maps and things that go back to before the Scorched. scorching. Actually, that's an interesting question. Like, ships probably are not are only the fastest way across. I bet there probably are also nomadic tribes, people that cross on foot. Just ships are often the fastest, which would make things very interestingly distinct from the other realms. Um, Star March would be important to both ships and foot travel. They could they could be they could be they could tie into this idea of guides of like it says here that some of the places and passages pioneered by the Star March are now common knowledge. Now, that's possible, sure, but this world has changed so radically that, and not to mention, there's always the threat of storms, changing the landscape and everything. Things might be more. I think Star March probably serve a very important role, and so well, there are secrets. I'd say there's probably more than just the Star Marked for navigation, but the Star Marked are like coveted. Like having a Star Marked on your ship or in your nomadic tribe is considered good luck or something. Like, there's different ways to do this. This is going to be interesting. The navigation, the Star Marked guides, as I'm calling them. The Star Marked are an ancient organization of navigators and guides that have charted the lands of the Sundered Isles for generations. The mystical tattoos on their body are only half the equation as they travel across the sandy sea to document any changes to the landscape for sandstorms or other phenomena. Having a star marked on a crew, caravan, or nomadic tribe is considered to be good fortune. So, very much the idea I had just put more succinctly, like this whole idea of star marked being guides. It's a good. It's what it's in the book technically, but like it's more of an expansion on it. And yeah, so I think that's good for this, and we can expand on it a bit later. This is going to be interesting. So, our next truth is empires. This is, well, it's what it says on the 10. It's the threat of colonization and conquest. I'm not going to roll this time. I'm going to pick one because it fits sort of the vision I have for this setting the best. That is, Imperial forces vie for dominion over the Sundered Isles. Imperial colonization and exploitation is a creeping tide that threatens to engulf the Isles. Colonial governors oversee ever expanding settlements, while powerful trade companies control key trade routes and resources. Imperial agents conduct missions of subterfuge and assassination. Treaties between empires are forged and broken on a whim, and mariners can never be certain of what flag will fly over a port from one day to the next. Now, I wanted to do this one because I see this as a very world starting to recover. So large factions, large nations are starting to come into play. And that's why I wanted to go with this option instead of just one over-encompassing one. Maybe there will be one that's particularly powerful and might want to become the over-encompassing one, all-encompassing one, but we'll get to that when we get to factions. So yeah, that's our empire. So let's see. Let's see what I can do with this. Our new section is faction based conflict. In the wake of the Scorching, society was mostly reset, but new nations and societies have emerged over the past centuries. Now, many of them have set their eyes on the Sundered Isles, seen as ripe for the taking. A few places remain independent, they're shrinking regularly. This is, of course, very much tying into the ongoing themes of the setting, as well as tying into the idea of the Age of Sail, of the Golden Age of piracy that this is very much based on, just without the ocean in this case. So yeah, it's gonna be a thing. Well, that's why we got pirates. And that's what we're gonna talk about now. Oi, mateys, it's be time to talk about the pirates. And I'm not going to be doing that anymore because that it's a cliche and it is also not historically accurate. Uh, Let me rephrase that. It's not completely historically accurate. It's some pirates probably did have the accent, but not the majority of them. Anyway, piracy. Piracy, that's our next one. So, what influence do pirates wield? There are three options here. Um, let's see what we get. 13. Ooh. Oh, that one was kind of cocked, actually. Give me a second. Okay, 83. Ah, this is going to be interesting, and this will tie back into factions. A burgeoning pirate nation wields great influence, which we will discuss when we get to factions. The Marauder clans sail under the command of the Dread Court, a conclave of 8 veteran pirates whose shrewd tactics position this nation of cutthroats as a rising power. Uh, Once each year, the pirate fleets gather at a port called Flotsam, an artificial island built from the husks of captured and ruined ships to pay homage to the court and to make plans. Now, I'm not going to completely follow this. This is just guidelines, of course, but I like the idea of a pirate nation, especially with the factions. Maybe a bunch of pirates decide, hey, we're going to band together and try and deal with these empires. It doesn't necessarily mean my character is going to be associated with this pirate nation that we will name later. Um, we'll get to that when we get to it. So let's see what we can come up with. Yeah. Our pirate faction doesn't have a name yet, but many pirates have united under the flag of some of the strongest pirate captains in the islands in order to sort of stand against the growing imperial powers, because pirates tend to want to be free. But we'll get to more details on them later. Well, not all pirates have joined. Those who have are provided with protection and supplies. But of course, not all pirates are part of it, and their ports are usually welcome to any pirate, as long as they're not blacklisted, so to speak. But only members of the faction have access to a lot of the resources without, like, paying for it. Uh, it kind of depends on who you are. So that should be an interesting way to do things. Next up is religion. What is the role of faith? And there's, as usual, 3 options. Let's see. This should be interesting. Yes, this should be very interesting. 65. Ooh, okay. The gods enact their will through manifestations and miracles. We chronicle the visitations of the gods in our history and decipher their enigmatic purpose through sacred rites. Times of crisis, their earthly avatars have guided us through the upheaval. For many, faith in these gods offers meaning and fulfillment. For others, belief is a cudgel used by tyrannical leaders or to defy their control. Wow, that's a little too real. For this reason, some people cultures disavow the gods to follow a different path. Interesting. Interesting. Hmm. That's going to be interesting to deal with. Uh, I mean, religion and pirates, weirdly, like, they're not super mixed, except for, Bartholomew Roberts, of course. He was, he he was a weird, but, I'm, sure. But yes, yes, let's see here. What can we do with this? So, it is said that the gods of the ancients will act through manifestations in the world. Many people see signs and portents in these manifestations, and major religions have emerged around these, and either in their own factions or in other factions. But of course, not everyone believes them, and there are those who are unsure if the gods are real or if there may just be relics of ancient magic in play here. And that's kind of the mystery of what's going on, really. It's something that is difficult to really explore. But magic is in a world where magic likely exists. So yeah, there's different ways this could go, really. I guess we will find out. Speaking of magic, that's next. I'm not going to roll again. I already know what I want to do. Ma- Magic is an ever-present elemental force. Magic is as constant as the wind and tides. Talented mystics exploit these energies to shape natural forces, divine the past and the future, and cast boons and curses. A few can even breathe unnatural life into the dead. Many mystics join guilds or serve under mentors to hone their craft, while others make do with the raw, untrained talent. In spite of their uncanny nature, mystics are often hired as aides for powerful leaders or to help guide ships on perilous voyages. But as the winds and tides are fickle, so is magic, and some fall prey to the dark curse of these forces. And that's what I want to do. Like, this idea of, like, is it already kind of tying into some other ideas that we've been discussing? Like, this idea of magic maybe even being the cause of, or at least a magical weapon being the cause of the scorching and creating the world as it is today. Again, also again tying into the few and cursed as an inspiration, as that was a very mystical, very magical, more horror fantasy than anything else inspired comic series about curse breakers and hunters. But yeah, so that's what I want to do. I don't want it to be a magic, but like we'll see what kind of effect that will have on the world as well, which is going to be interesting, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see what I can do with this. All right. So, as I said, magic is an ever-present elemental force. On the islands, magic is basically part of life. It's been that way for as long as anyone can remember. The powerful magical forces left behind by these ancient wars still ravage the islands to this day. Like magical radiation. Think of it like magical radiation. While some people have managed to control it, the it still creates curses and the curse that damage the world to the world. And often, even people who think they can control it will still lose control. And some even say that perhaps magic is what has cursed the world itself. That is what is creating this sand sea and forever trapping people like this. Well, at least that's one of the most common theories among mages. Not that anyone's really able to prove it. But again, who knows? So, the next truths is beasts, which is the nature of extraordinary creatures. This is an interesting one for this kind of setting because of how it works. So, if they exist, which I honestly would prefer they do, we do have to raise the question of how it would work in this kind of world. Like, what is the uh, s- desert equivalent to a kraken, for example? Actually, that's a good example. I managed to play around with that. Let's see what the dice tell us. Let's see what the dice tell us. Why do I keep? Wait, so that's 7 or that's a 10. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. All right. Beasts are lost to myth, but the tales persist. For most, monstrous beasts are the stuff of fables, but a few who journey across trackless isles and unknown seas claim otherwise. Some even bear the scars of these alleged encounters. Now, this could be interesting. Now, because we're thinking like sea creatures, like sea monsters. Like we are in a world that doesn't have an ocean, that doesn't have seas. So likely such creatures would have faded into myth. But what if there are remote areas of the ocean of the sand sea where these creatures have mutated, they've adapted, and they're waiting. Yes, I can work with this. This is good. This is good. So I give this a little bit of thought, and here's what I've got. Beasts have been lost to myth for now. The stories of monsters were lost with the oceans, but there are still tales of terrifying creatures and remote locations within the sand sea. Are the beasts still out there after all? And how have they changed? This is a brief one, but it gives us a lot to work with. Like maybe they really are just stories, or maybe there is something out there. Maybe there is something more. Like has the kraken perhaps become a burrowing creature? Has sea serpents, that kind of thing. I think I can make that work. I think I can make that work. Yes. But we have one last truth left, and that's probably one of the most important ones. So, the last one is horrors. The monsters, the undead, the things that haunt sailors on the sand sea in their nightmares. What dreadful forces haunt the Sundered Isles? Let's roll these dice. I'm gonna re-roll that. Sorry, 70. The damned and the dead are a plague upon the isles. We live in accursed times. The drowned and the buried do not rest. More the buried in this world, of course. Tortured spirits hunt for retribution. Uncounted islands are blighted by dark forces. Cities and villages lie abandoned and forsaken, lost to malevolent. We keep watch, craft wards, and offer prayers to keep the horrors at bay. Sand Sea has long been cursed by the sins of of the forefathers, people who call them. Some cursed could be remnants from that. Others could be those affected by mm, by what kind of horrors could could a Sandfaring Realm create? Desiccated corpses, mummified by the time in the desert, secret long buried by sand. Oh no, that is what we want. So, have some fun with it. All right, we have our horrors, remnants and secrets, ancient weapons and magics wrought upon the world, created horrifying undead monstrosities. To this day, the cursed continue to blight the world in our game. Entire communities have vanished in a single night when targeted by the cursed, and there are rarely ways to counter them without dabbling into dark magic. And there may be other things out there, other remnants of this ancient magic. To again compare it magical radiation. It does things to people like it does things. And the Sand Sea, the Sundered Isles have, have become almost their hunting ground. Perhaps our hero will have to deal with that as well. But that is a story for another day. We are done with our truths. It's time to continue to our factions. And I know we at least have one that is worth discussing. Alright, factions. So we will be setting our factions right here. The way this works is that we start out with, I believe, 4 factions. But I'm going to start with 5. Actually, I'm going to start with 5. I just realized I'm not looking my dice out for this. So let's see here. Let's I'm let's start with our pirate faction. Um, start with okay. So influence is going to be a little different than what it is. So I'm gonna go with notable influence. This is means that it is dispersed influence over a moderate area. Basically, that means that they are somewhat influential, but not like hugely influential. Relationships. I'm gonna come back to that when we get to the the rest of the factions. Uh, Chronicles. Okay. So they are. This is an empire. Uh, Empire just means a large faction. Um, so Imperial. Okay, so leadership. This is our pirate faction. So let's see what leadership gives us. Was it 31? 31. Prophesied ruler. Okay, so it's a prophesied ruler of pirates. Interesting. Um, hmm. Okay, that's an interesting quest. Pirates, uh, perhaps a prophecy or theoretically prophesied um, great captain or something that would unite reunite. Yeah, okay, I can work with that. It's a bit of an odd choice for this, but I think I can work with it. Tactics. I'm gonna pick one tactic already. That would be privateers and mercenaries. What's next? Okay, so the next one's going to be 47. 40 relics. Interesting. Okay, I think I can work with that. And one more. Let's do one more for fun. 78. Okay, no, that doesn't fit the pirate theme. That's rigid class structures we're not really doing. 28. Elite military units at the Vanguard. That's interesting. Units at the Vanguard. Okay, so that's interesting. That would mean that they are strong, but their units are often their units are often more difficult to deal with than anything else. So yeah, like the best pirates would be the Vanguard. Okay, vulnerabilities. This could be interesting. Okay, we have a prophesied ruler. Um, 71. 71. That sparks of rebellion. Interesting. Yeah, sparks of rebellion. Maybe some crews are starting to see this ruler as maybe a fraud or even that he or she is no better than than the kind of groups that they're fighting against. One more vulnerability. It's 31. 31. Infighting and treachery among leaders. No, 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 no. Oh, that was embarrassing. Okay, that's a 90. Vulnerable trade route. Okay, that makes sense. Vulnerable. Okay, I can work with that. Right. That would be. I mean, they're pirates, but pirates, they probably can't spread too thin. So, the most important thing is name. Hmm. So, that would be. So, I'm going to go with the. Hang on. I'm going to go with Republic. Okay? Sorry, there's so many options here. Um, Republic. Let's go with a cult of something. 67. Republic of one. Interesting. Okay, so that gives us our first faction. The Actually, it seems it's the Pirate Republic of Quan. Perhaps that's the name of the leader, or their family name at least. Okay, interesting. Okay, this gives us something to start with. Maybe even my character is part of the rebel faction in this. Mm, I think okay. I would. I think I can work with that. All right, let's see what. Let's see how my character shapes up after this. All right, so we're gonna have another empire. We're gonna have like a major empire faction, and we're also gonna have a cursed faction. So we're going to. I'm going to roll, and I'm going to see. I'm going to see. Yeah, I will see if this might be cursed. If it's too localized, I'm going to say this one's the cursed faction. Mm, okay, we haven't. Okay, so we have information. This is another empire, but it's a fairly small faction, unlike. Um, So relationships. Okay, so this is where we get our first relationship. Let's start with the pirates from Juan, and then let's go up here for this as well. Um, this will determine. So we need to roll on the faction relationships table, which will be right here. This is the advanced one, as opposed to the one earlier in the book. 30. Hold contempt for. Uh, okay, so they hold contempt for the Pirate Republic of Quan. That makes sense. These are very undead cursed. Maybe there's a history there. All right, so Quan will. Let's see here. Let's see what Quan did. Quan's relationship is. That is a 31. Ah, interesting. Okay. That's holds leverage over them. So maybe there's something that that Quan is able to hold over this cursed faction, not in any official capacity, of course. Like they're not official. They're not going around admitting it. I can think that's an interesting idea. Okay, so leadership. Their leadership is made up of 19. Okay, that was 19. I think that was 19, which is a dynastic ruler. Interesting. Okay, and perhaps maybe a remnant from the old world. Even that's interesting. Okay, okay. Tactics. That's a 60. 60 is naval firepower. Mm, yeah. Okay. Maybe there's something that Quan has that keeps the curse from attacking his ships, like that kind of thing. Okay, 71 is puppet government. No, no, no. That doesn't really work. 5. What's a 5? Wow. Collusion with criminal faction. Pirates are criminals, but maybe it's about collusion. And maybe they're colluding with like a with like maybe the rebels, maybe they're colluding um with one of the with sort of the mafia or something. Like we can work with that. Okay, what's the last one? 53. Industry and commerce. Okay. Well, no, I'll leave it at that. Vulnerabilities. 90, 98. Whispers of a potential coup. Interesting. Hmm. Maybe, maybe something's going on. Maybe even Kwan's behind it. Okay, so Perth gives a couple of extra details. So their first role. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, I can. Oh wait, there's a small one. I'll give only one. Um, their faction role is going to be the first faction role will be something 62. Hmm. Necromancers. Ooh, that would definitely fit. And their aspects. 68. Why am I getting so many 60s? Operates from a hidden location. A hidden location. That makes sense. Cursed. And what's the second one? 96. 96 is wield string. Oh, that's interesting. Wield strange technologies. Like, there's old things in this. So let's give them a good. Okay, so name. Give them a. Give them a theme. Give them a mixture of theme. Let's give them a first theme aspect name and yeah, theme aspect name and a society identity. So that would be $49 is the Fallen. Oh, that's a good name. That's good. That's good. Fallen. Mm, 68. Again, really. The Fallen kinship. Interesting. No, no, I'm gonna roll that again. Wait, no, no, wait, no, that's identity, that's not idea. Sorry. Fallen Principality. Okay, okay, I can work with that. Okay. So many things I can do with it. Alright. So we have the Fallen Principality. Ah, so the Pirate Republic of Quan holds some sort of leverage over them. Maybe an artifact, maybe something that they need in order. Like they're necromancers. There could be so many things. Maybe there's some sort of resource that they need that maybe Quan has control over. We got different ways we can do this. I like this idea. So let's do our third empire. We're going to do 3 empires and then one society and one organization. So, let's see what their flying people. 48. Okay, that's localized. Man, let's see if I got more. 62. Alright, that's established. Let's go with let's go with established. Alright. Mm. Empire, influence, established, relationships. Alright, so yeah, we need let's see what their relationships are. Let's start with the Pirate Republic of Kwan, 77. Supplies resources too. Interesting. No, 33. It's two doubles. Oh, we've already got that for, sorry, 72. Supplied with resources by, no, that's sorry. But I'm having such a hard time with those. 98. Okay, roll twice. 30. Holds contempt for. Okay, I can work with that. Holds contempt for, and what's the other one? 91. Is that 91? Yeah. Mm, mm, yeah, let's change it. With the pirates, Juan. And the the fallen principality, 95. Oh, I already. Sorry, I'm having 81. Suspicious of the fallen. Okay. Mm, Well, and the Republic of Pawn is 15. Broke faith with. Yes, that's interesting. Maybe Quan was originally part of this other faction, or they connected to it in some way. Maybe they were privateer. Some of them were privateers or something, and the fallen. And we don't keep getting holds leverage over 43. Needs aid from. Actually, I'm gonna switch those two around. Okay, sorry. Need aid from the. Never. I'm not going to switch those two around. Now, I can do something like I said. Maybe there's a resource that they need, but maybe they don't really. But like, okay, leadership. Okay, their leadership is going to be another dynastic ruler. No, I'm trying to avoid having a bunch of this. Oh my gosh, 69. Nice. Self-appointed dictator. Okay, maybe that's mm, mm, connected to why Quan wrote faith with them. Even that could be interesting. Tactics. 3. Fascination. Fascinating. 20, I mean, sorry, 11. Demands of conformity. Okay. Vulnerabilities. So the vulnerabilities are 44 is overconfidence in a tactic or weapon. Okay. Okay. That's definitely doable. 82. Vulnerable resource and short supply. Alright. So we need a name. How about okay, so let's go with Empire Identity. 98. Oh my gosh. Union of let's see here, the 71 culture is Rugal. The Rugal Union, let's call it. Rugal Union. Alright. Okay, so we have so far we have the Pirate Republic of Quan, who and Quan, the Fallen Principality, and the Rugal Union. Oh, this is definitely shaping up to be interesting. All right. Okay. So that's decent. All right. So we still have two more factions I want to make. So let's see what the dice decide we're going to have to deal with. Shall we? I actually already made this faction. I was I was talking and just realized I did not record this part. So I will go over what I decided. They are a group known as the Copper Hammers. They're shipbuilders. Like they're the best shipbuilders in the Sand Sea. Maybe even one of their number were the ones that managed to break the secrets of how to cross the Sand Sea generations ago. Uh, they are a they are an organization. They're fairly isolated, but it's more that they don't really have influence. More, and it's more that they're just shipbuilders. They show grudging respect for the fallen principality, and the fallen principality is trying to get is to negotiate something from them, and it could be interesting. And most likely, they kind of just hire themselves out to whoever can pay. Pirate Republic Quan they owe a debt to, um, and likewise the Republic is doing business with them. That's like they work together. And again, it's very galley law. They're very will work with anyone as long as they pay. And they do not get along well with the Rugal Union for probably obvious reasons. They originally were part of with them, and they splintered off them, which is probably why they're not as influential. Um, I did also bump the influence of the Regal Union up to dominant. I don't know if I said that in the previous section. They use specialized equipment or weapons, and they operate a system of apprenticeship. And of course, they're colluding with the criminal enterprise, and corrupt leaders are siphoning resources. So yeah, maybe it's not even just that they're the best, but like maybe to a degree they're kind of on the decline, which will put them at a difficult position moving forward, and maybe something that can be changed even as time goes on. I don't have to roll. It's going to be a society. Let's see. What can I? Let's see how. 46. That means it is localized. Interesting. Marginalized. Marginal. Wow, that was embarrassing. Um, marginal influence in a single area. That works for this. Mm, mm, all right. High society influence localized relationships as usual. All right. Okay, so we start with the pirates. 92. Give me a sec. Sorry. Yes, that is a 92. 92. Trades favors with the Pirate Republic of Juan and the uh, uh, 26 extorted by the I would say that's by the Regal Union. Then let's see here. The 98. Oh, high rolls. Oh wow. All right, so it's gonna be 241. New ring against and 18 distrust of fallen the fallen holiday and the copper 92 again. Trade trade favors with the copper hammer. That's interesting. Okay, so okay, let's figure out for everyone else. All right. The and Quan is 16. I'd say that we wouldn't be stressful. 85. Tolerate. Mm, uh, And Fallen Principality. 80. This, this of this last faction. I think they're suspicious of each other, aren't they? It's they're maneuvering against and distrustful. Yeah, that's still pretty interesting. The Union, Regal Union 12. apathetic or unaware, apathetic or unaware of. All right, so what was it for for the cup? Okay, let's just go trade favor. Okay, so that's okay. Chronicles. The Chronicles a history of notable events. Okay, 36. Um, let's see here. 36. Fateful encounter with another faction. That should be interesting. We can expand on that later. 17. Established a established a new system of governance. That's interesting. We could probably do something with that. 77. 77 saw the rise of an influential organization. Interesting. Okay, overseers, people in charge. 93. I'm rolling a lot of 90s. Varied or informal leadership. Okay, so touchstones. 46. 46. 46. Favors audacious. Is audacious and distinct styles. And at least one more. So it's just another 90. Sail in a just type of vessel. Hmm. Distinctive type of vessel. Let's go with one more. 39. Conducts rites of adulthood or ascension. Hmm. I have some ideas for this, but I might have to work on it. Okay, so name. We need a name for this. Oh, oops, I put the wrong number down. Uh, your name. Let's go with. Let's go with culture and name. I mean identity. 69. Nice. Ryan. Ryan. 57. Ryan. Fellowship. Fellowship. Okay. All right, so we have our five factions. This is interesting. Okay. What can I do with this group? I honestly kind of like the idea of them being maybe nomadic. I discussed before about traveling nomads. Maybe this is one of those groups. Um, maybe yeah, I kind of like that idea. Um, it's something to start with at least. I'll see where this might go from here. Uh, factions are done. Yay. So that means next up is character. Yep, we are going to be discussing this next. This should be interesting. Let's see what our captain is like. Character. So, this is a fairly basic step-by-step process. Part one. We have this idea of the broad strokes of your character concept. Who are you? What drives you? Keep in mind the three pillars. You are Ironsworn, you are a seafarer, or sandfarer in this case, and you are a rebel. Right. So, let's see where this goes. I do have some ideas, but I want to see where we can go with this. So, we're going to start with back. You know what? We're gonna start with a bit of a curse. Alright, give me 1 second. Let me write. Alright. So, I have this idea that my character is cursed. Not fully undead, but is suffering from a curse of some sort. And I think we can have some fun. So, let's roll on the cursed backstory to begin with. 12. Bearing a relic of dreadful power. Ooh. That could be something interesting. Maybe something ancient. Maybe something from the old world. So, let's write this down. Bearing a relic of dreadful. Yeah, I think I can work with that. Um, so the question now is, I'm gonna go and do persona, which will give us two paths. Mm, huh? Let's see here. Okay, so there's about 100 options. Not 100 options. There's 100. There's a table here. That's it's got a bunch of options. Let's see what it is. What this is. That's 14. Brigand. Hmm. Stealer and scoundrel. Interesting. I want to go a few options and see what jumps out. 38. That is emissary, diplomat, or spy. Diplomat and spy. Hmm. No. No. Okay, so yeah, at least not for what I have in mind. First character. I don't think that would really work. 77. Siren, empath or musician? A a bard character that has interesting potential. So right now between brigand and siren. Let's go for 3 or 4 options. Pilgrim, devotions, navigator. 82. Soul survivor, hunter, vestige. Okay, one more option. I like that one. Okay. 16. Buccaneer, swashbuckler, pirate captain. Okay, so our options are brigand, buccaneer, Pilgrim. No, wait, I didn't. I didn't go with Pilgrim. Siren or Soul Survivor. Hmm. Give me one moment. I'm going to look over my card options, and I'm going to decide. I have decided, and yes, these are Starforge cards because I went with Soul Survivor. I have Vestige and Haunted. It's given me two things to start with. Vestige, you are all the remains of the people, culture, or tradition. You face death or face desolation. Visions of your heritage give you the strength to carry on. Vision how this manifests and reroll any dice. On a strong hit with a match, a surprising new aspect of your heritage is revealed. Take +2 momentum and mark 2 ticks on your Bond's legacy track. Ow. There's a few different ways I could do this. I'm trying to think that she has something against the and against the Pirate Republic of Quan. Something maybe something happened that like her people were wiped out. She's out for revenge, and the relic she's carrying is this relic that they were after. Maybe gives her a little something to work with. Haunted. You are haunted by the spirit of someone whose death you caused, or mourn, or both. When you make a move to call upon their insight, add +1. On a weak hit, you also endure stress. On a strong hit, you mark the match. Mark 1 tick on your Bond's legacy track. Now that's an interesting thing to do. I'm going to think about that one a little bit. Something's haunting her, and most likely, hey, there's my cat. It's most likely it's probably even tied to this relic. Maybe it's old Guardian. I'm actually kind of like that idea. Yeah, Guardian, this relic. Like maybe it was her mother or mentor or something. Uh, and she's trying to keep it hidden, but it's also slowly affecting her. Um, this is going to be interesting. All right, I think we've got a good start here. All right, so we need to go over characteristics. We're gonna do first look. I'm gonna do one normal first look and one cursed first look. So let's start with the normal. 24. 24. Two normal. Just okay, so distress. That's oh, that makes sense actually. So distress 23. 23 is just distressed again. We're not gonna make her twice as distressed. All right. 82. 82 is threatened. No. 72. Step. No, I don't know these zeros. I'm sorry, I'm rolling so many dice. You can't even hear or see it. I'm rolling over the side of here. I don't have a camera or something. I'm not that good yet. Fearsome. Okay, fearsome. And first look. 91. 91 is sorceress. Hmm. And interesting. I'm gonna roll again. 78. Shadowy. Okay, shadowy I gotta work with. Okay. Their current or former role. So that would be role. Okay, so this would be her time, her career, or what she did with her people before. So 30, no, 60. 64. She was a sailor. That actually explains maybe why she had to turn to piracy. She was a sailor. Actually, would make a lot of sense. That'd be most likely would be why a lot of pirates were originally sailors that's a 99. Wow. Okay, she was a quartermaster. Interesting. If we go with pirate logic, magic, she was basically second in command. That's actually, but it's probably not what it means. Okay, accessories. Accessories? 70. Middle teeth. I'm not really a fan of that one, at least for this character. And yes, she, her pronouns. I keep saying that. I didn't say. Really? Another 69? Uh, that's metal teeth again. So, okay, 26. A dramatic cape. That's interesting, and maybe it's like 62. Large tattoo of a legendary beast. Interesting. It's not really an accessory, though. Yeah, whatever. Okay, trademark weapon. 79. Shipwright hammer. What's a shipwright hammer? Um, mm, 21. 21. Campbell. Eh, let's go with the double barreled pistol. And it, of course, it's a cursed weapon. Like everything about her is cursed. 50. Hmm. Feeding upon the feeding upon the life force of the wielder. Maybe maybe it's connected to the relic that she has or something. Alright. Okay, less obvious details. Details. Um 60. Really? Seriously? Again? This- I'm not joking about this. Proud. Okay. I can do that. Deal with that. And the one Haunted. Okay, that makes sense. Goal. A first character goal. Let's go with curse. Okay, let's go with one normal, one cursed. This might help us with our. It's a 6. And that's. Oh, she's a pirate. That makes sense. She's still a pirate, no matter what. 57. Hmm. Infiltrate a forsaken location. Location. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Name. Name. Names are important, aren't they? We're going to roll on the character name tables. It's an 8. 86 is. I can. I'm not a fan of either of them. I mean, they're not bad names. I guess, let's see here. That is a 22. Mary. Simple name. um, Mary Pearson. No, I'm gonna keep looking. I mean, Mary Reed. Mary Reed was a. Hmm, I'm having the hardest time with names. 81. 81 is. That's sorry, I'm still having a hard time with it. Uh, 85? Seriously? mm, mm, Jasper. Uh, you know what? How about instead I'll go with. I'll go with Marie. With Marie some. With Marie something. Was it the Marie Frost? That's a good name. That's okay. Well, no, wait, no, that would be weird in a sandy world. Good Marie. Hmm. That'd be funny. Um, Marie. Sorry, I'm bad at Marie. Marie Cartwright. I think I have two parts of my name, and there's always the moniker. And she is cursed. I think it's fitting that she has a cursed moniker. So we're going to roll to see categories. It's 12. It's dreadful persona. Let's see how unsettled this name is. 16. Bloodbeard. She doesn't have a beard. 10. Black mask. I don't picture her wearing a mask. I don't think. No. No. Uh, pirates are pirates. Their whole thing was creating personas of fear around themselves. That's why Blackbeard had the Blackbeard. Um, created a legend. Oh, let's try it one more time. 44. Dark Tide. I don't like that one, actually. Dark Tide. Wait, no, there's no tides. It's a. Okay, I'm having a. This is going to keep going until I get one that I like, isn't it? Jump. Mm, you know what? I like the Banshee. I like the one I like Banshee. I'm, I'm gonna go with Banshee. Marie Carver, the Banshee of the Sand Sea first, and it leads to some interesting things down the line. All right, I believe I've made my character. I've named my character. She next up is what is uh, next is the background vow. I'm gonna think about this for a minute. So my idea is that she will find the pirates that destroyed her home and return them in kind. Whether or not they actually worked for the Pirate Republic of Quan, or at least still work for them, is the question. And that's something that might be worth exploring as the story progresses. And we have very much this idea of revenge, and if she can actually achieve this revenge, or she will want to, maybe it was more complicated than she knows. Right now, all she knows is that someone attacked her home and she was the only survivor. Maybe it wasn't Quan, the Pirate Republic of Quan, but she has still come to associate them with it, which is why she might side with the rebels against the Republic's leader, or maybe maybe I guess we're gonna find out, huh? So that's her vow. Um, stats and meters. So we're gonna start with her stats. It's gonna be pretty simple. I'm gonna give her. What am I gonna give her? I'm gonna give her a 3 in edge because she's a 2 in heart, 1 in iron, uh, 1 in shadow, and 2 in wits. No, I'm gonna switch shadow and wits. She's clever, but she's not like super intelligent. She's conditions meters. That's the same. That's not that big of a deal. It's 5 for health, spirit, and supply, and then +2 uh to momentum. I kind of wish I had a. I could. I'm still figuring the software out. Hopefully when I start this, I'll have actually I'll figure this out. All right. So that's everything from this section. Ship. As, as she does have a pirate ship. She has the flagship command vehicle card. Um, so this is going to be interesting. We have a lot to discuss here. And I think that perhaps it's there's going to be a bit. She's going to have a bit of a reputation. Of course, the question if she is cursed, which puts her at odds with Quan, and she's at odds with Quan, perhaps the fallen principality will serve a bit of a role moving forward. Just something to think about. Alright, so let's talk about ships. Alright, so I have gone ahead and rolled for my ship. Uh, that whole section was like ridiculously long, and a lot of it was me going back and forth on names. So let's go over our details. Our ship is called the Wraith's Gaze. It is a colossal ship, because that's what I rolled. Um, it was cobbled together from salvage found within a graveyard of forsaken ships. And I like this idea of that being from her people, from the civilization that she's the sole survivor of. Um, first look, it's cloaked by smoke and ash, and has an illusionary or spectral form. Yeah, that's fun. And its symbol is that it has a monstrous skull or jaws. I kind of like the idea of it being very. I mean, of like it having like sort of a shark's mouth on it, like a huge shark's mouth, like a megalodon jaw on its prow, and its flag is like very skull and crossbones. It's just obvious, but it's the point of it. The black flag means a lot of things. Um, it's in general disrepair, and it has a disease or corrupted crew, or in this case, corrupted. Its cargo is rope or hemp, mead, and then it's got some cursed cargo with soul jars and infernal weapons. And its crew characteristics are that they are bound to the will of a dreadful artifact. So it's the the artifact that that Marie is carrying around is binding her and her crew to it. So like eventually she's going to need to try and break that probably. But like there's this idea of the ship being inherently terrifying as part of how she works. She's a pirate. Her She works to be terrifying, to be intimidating. So while she's cursed, she's going to lean into that to create and to spread fear, to create this terrifying persona. I also want to thank Zombie Rogue from the Iron Sworn Discord, who suggested the idea that the hulls of the ships and the sand ships are much flatter, and they run on like skis or something made of a material are enchanted to be frictionless, That is actually now how it works, though only the large ships. Smaller ships will work more like the smaller ships and longboats and stuff will work more like uh, the sand yachts, which are sand yachts. If you want an idea how that would look up a scene from a movie called Sahara about about sand sailing. That was a terrible movie, but it's a pretty good scene. Yeah, and I've also decided my final asset. I'm going to take a path. I'm going to take the pistolier path because I like this idea of her using pistols. Yeah. We have our truths and our factions and our character. Gonna get started with the navigation chart. This should be interesting. Um, so this would be our islands, our islands at the start. So let's see what the dice gods give us. All right. So our first island is going to be 21. Okay, that's a small island. I don't think this is going to be an island. With the way this version works, it's going to be more of a an oasis. So let's. I'm going to make a little spot on the map right here. Um, that will be our oasis. So it'll be. All right. So our first. Uh, going to make that. Uh, uh, Alright, so this is our first island. Size small, terrain. Alright, terrain. Rolling vitality. Um, this wants to be an inhabitable area, so so it'll be lush. As I said, it's an oasis. Um, Visible habitation. Um, it'll be a seaside settlement. Um, okay, so let's see if there's another close by. There is not. That's a 7. That means there's no other island in sight. Okay, coastline at inspect. So let's see what this gives. Let's see how we can translate this to Sandfaring. 32. Inundated by tidal flooding. Okay, so maybe it's less that it's flooding from the sea. Obviously, maybe the oasis is prone to flooding. Mm-mm. Inundated by tidal oasis flooding, and but because it's a reliable source of water. People still live there, and like they like maybe they have to. Maybe there's different ways that can be done. They could live up still, maybe. 53. Rocky Rocky ledges beneath stone bluffs. Okay, maybe there's some areas around it. Um, that have that. Um, so offshore observations. Yeah, we'll save that for when we get there. So a name. 31. 31 is Emira. Okay. Okay, interrupt. All right. So let's move on to settlement. Oh no, no, let's do our islands first, and we'll do settlement. Da, 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 to size. This one should be a decent. This should be bigger. That's that's not big. Okay, I'm gonna reroll. 77. That's large. Large terrain. I'm thinking this one will have to have some cursed on it. Terrain 63. Rugged. That makes sense. Rugged terrain. Rugged vitality. 19. Bars. Okay, I can work with that. Actually, that makes sense for this. Alright. I'd say this would probably be a mesa. Um, visible habitation. Well, this would be a mesa. Very uh, one that's accessible. mm, say seaside settlement or like the okay, coastline aspects. 96. Probably 1190s. Tall headlands tall headland and surround beach. Or it's a yeah. I think that still works if it's like it used to be an island, but now it's not really an island anymore. Yeah, like maybe this was in ancient times. It was an island. All right, let's give it a name. Oh, well, say that it's not the whole island that's cursed, but there are areas of the island that is cursed. 42, Hera. Oh wait, no, that's not. Um, Ignite. That's fiery. It's not. No, maybe it has. Maybe it has a dormant volcano. Yeah, I think I can work with. Okay, so give me a moment. I'm going to pull up this map, and then I will the map so far, and then I will put a picture of it. We do see our map here. We have the Amira Oasis, which is going to be where things probably get stuck. Let me rephrase that. That's probably the most common destination for travelers in this region. There's Ignis, which will be a bit more barren, a bit more overrun. There will probably be some sources on the island, but a lot of it, like, people are not going to be here very often. I think that we can probably make this work. Step will be settlements. We're gonna have two settlements to start with. Will be definitely more, but it'll be one per island. And I mean, Emira's only gonna have one settlement, and that's the one built around the oasis. It's a small island slash oasis, so that makes sense. But Ignis will probably have a few as we explore this region. So let's start with the locate. Okay, so settlement one is going to be on Emira. Um, all right, so location will be waterside. That actually just makes sense. Size 25. So okay, it's a village or outpost. That makes sense. It could be like a trading post. That actually makes a lot of sense. Village or outpost. This is not a well-traveled area, but this would be where people go to find water. Aesthetics, 52. Grand, interesting. Grand. Majestic structures with opulent details. There's different ways that could go. Um, so first look, maybe because of its easy access to water, maybe it's a fairly wealthy settlement. 21. First look, instead, mm, like small town. So I'll just have one identity. So who controls it? It's a 46, an unknown faction. That means it's not any of the established factions. If such when we go here, then we can make up a new faction. That could be interesting. Position 13. Threatening. I'd say that I'd say they probably had problems with pirates or with cursed. So that would be a disposition towards my character, but not necessarily in general. Authority. That's a one. Ruthless. Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so alright. So there's definitely something going on in this. Like water is maybe this faction's controlling the water. Uh, focus. Uh, I'm gonna go with trade for their focus, and I'm gonna roll one detail, which will maybe give us something to work with if we wind up there. Or maybe a rumor or something. 90. Mm, a resident. Ooh, this is a good one. Resident desperately seeks escort or passage out this place. Like if this place is not under the greatest of authority, then that would explain a lot. Actually, that would definitely be something that people would want to escape from. I think I can make that. I think I can make that work. All right, so that's name. I almost forgot the name. 19. Latest. Elidus. Okay. Elidus on the island of Emira. Hey, that's actually okay. That's good. That's good. All right, let's. So what? So what is Ignis's settlement going to be like? Is the question. I think this will be the curse. This will be a cursed settlement. I know technically you're supposed to roll to determine these things, but I like this idea of starting out with a cursed settlement. So size. Wait. Oh. Sorry. Location. 36. It's okay. It's on the shore. Or what passes for a shore in this setting. It's on the edge of the habitable section of the island, base of this island of the what's left of the island. Now, size 83. 83. That's going to be even in the that's in the reaches. That's going to be a city. Interesting. Actually, in any region, it's going to be the city is. That it. Oh my gosh. Industrial. All right. With the curse, that actually kind of makes sense. So first look, I'm gonna go with one normal first look and one cursed first look. 19. Colossal statue or monolith. And 66. Overpowering overpowering stench. Okay. Identity. So I know it says so I know I'm going to say known faction and it's the fallen principality. Disposition is 2. I don't want to make it hostile. I'm gonna make it wary. Authority 73. Fair. Maybe it's only fair to curse. Focus. So 70. Nature. Okay. Nature and a first focus. 95. I'm unwittingly helping or unleashing a cursed power. So maybe the principality hasn't completely taken hold yet, but it is influencing it. Okay. So we're gonna get one detail. First detail. 18. A shop displays a menagerie of strange and dangerous creatures. Interesting. Alright, so name. What's our settlement's name going to be? 22. Darkfall. Okay, Darkfall. I like that. Okay, so we have the settlements of Elatus and Darkfall. Uh, will be we're probably going to start in Darkfall. Right? Also, so this would be interesting. So for this first map expansion of sorts, we now have Darkfall and Elatus, and I changed the Amira Oasis's color to blue to fit this idea of it being an oasis as opposed to a true island. This is pretty interesting. This is about most of what we need with this section. So we're actually almost done, at least with the map. So there's just one more thing to add, which I will add in the final section. The last thing is notable locations, and they're also cursed locations as well. I'm going to make four. Three normal, one cursed. So let's see and they each come with a question. That will be interesting. Okay, number 7. Ooh, an active volcano. Maybe the volcano in Ignis is not so active after all, but not so dormant after all. Um, so let's see here. Detail, active volcano. Question: what important location does this eruption threaten? Now, it could be Darkfall. So okay, give me a second. I'm gonna make a name real quick. I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call it the Infernus Volcano. Um, so for now, that's the question. We'll figure it out from there. Um, all right. So location 2 will be a will be number 29. That will be a floating trade post. Okay, that would floating trade post. So it's not a floating trade post, but let's say instead it's like a traveling trade caravan, or sort of that moves around the area, offering interesting and possibly exotic things to sell. So, question: who is pounding the Oops. Who is hounding the traders demanding tribute? Okay. Okay, so that should be interesting if we. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna roll on the character names to give this one a name. That's 70. Let's call it the Gideon Trade Caravan. Alright. So location 3. 3. Right. 29. Wait, what's the trade caravan again? Okay. 65. Hmm. The Palatial Manor. Manor. Question. Hmm. Hmm. What? Where is it? Lavish. What lavish event is scheduled to take place here? Alright, one last one. Okay, so roll again on the character names. 38. 38 is let's call it the Brighton Manor. Manor. Okay, so location 4. This will be the correct one. 2. Area of endless dead calm. Hmm. So okay, so the calm. Question is, what ship is trapped in these waters? Okay, that's an interesting one. They're probably like, but there's no ocean. Yeah, there isn't. But endless dead calm. That's a star. That would be like the Clargasso Sea. Perhaps there's something mystical about it that keeps anyone from leaving. Hmm. Actually, that gives me an idea. Okay, let me get a name. Let me get a name for this. Uh, her settlement name. Actually, no, the Dead Rock Wastes. Okay, I think that's what we need. We have our 4 important locations. So, this is our final map, more or less, or at least for this region. So this is we have our island, we have our wastes. We have our larger island. We have the Dead Rock Wastes. We have Brighton Manor here. They're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but it's. I put it along the Gideon trade caravan route. Of course, the volcanoes here. Um, like he's an eccentric old rich person, as if living out in the wastes. Probably has a decent defense. I could think we can do something interesting with that if we ever wind up going out that way. Um, the Dead Rock Wastes. That's going to be an interesting one to do because, like, so what is actually keeping anything from leaving the waste is the real question. And I think we're going to probably wind up exploring it. Maybe there's something out there that we don't quite understand. And, well, I think this is our map. This is our region. It's almost ready. In fact, we're almost done. We just have a couple of things left to do. We need a local connection and to name the area. So, shall we get started on the connection? Alright, so we're going to start on our local connection. I rolled for pronouns, got she, her. Um, so let's start with first look. Alright, 82. Threatened. Alright, she's probably cursed. I believe she's probably a local, or she's the connection to Marie's connection to the to the fallen principality. So she's threatened in some way like that. 91 is sorceress. Interesting. Okay. Um, disposition. Her disposition is going to be. There's 97. No, let's not make her hostile. Let's make her persuadable. Roll. Okay, roll. Having some technical difficulties. Roll is going to be 90. That's going to be action plus theme. Hold on. It's 10. Agent. Okay, agent. Interesting. She's going to be an agent. She probably works for the I'd say then yeah, she works for the principality, the fallen principality as an assassin. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. All right, so accessories. 43. Grand signet ring. Hmm. Maybe she was someone important before she became cursed. Okay, so that's a 97. Wooden religious medallion. Interest. I. That's interesting. I think I can work with that. Weapon. Trademark weapon is an 8. That's Um, bloodied belaying pin 28 consumes souls. Details. I'll give her a hunt. I'll give her uh, I'll give her a cursed one. 85 fermented and one non-cursed one. 8 bitter. Interesting. Okay. Goal. 65. Um, resist the call of a of a malevolent power. Okay. Maybe whoever's in charge of um the principality wants her to do something, but she doesn't want to do it. Okay. No. So her name is going to be names are important after all. So we're gonna give her the name 14. Let's give her the name uh, Ara Shah, and we'll give her a moniker. And let's see here. First moniker category 31. Dreadful persona. 64. 64 is Keel Hall. If you don't know what keel hauling is, it's terrifying. She's on, and her location, she's on on Darkfall. All right. So we have our. Oh wait, yes. Rank. And she is with in her faction. She is with the Fallen Principality, as they are actually fairly influential in this region. So I'm gonna give her the formidable rank. She does not particularly like dealing with the fellow cursed, but she is at least amenable to someone like Marie, who is probably a bit more unwilling. Because depends on she likes Marie at least. So yeah, we have Arisha, the assassin from the fallen principality. To the last section. So keel hauling, is a very nasty thing. But by the way it works, it's not really a thing anymore within the world of the Sundered Isles under the um, under the Sandfaring Realm. So I've decided to change her uh, um, moniker to Spectre instead. I just want to make a quick note of that before I moved on to the last section. So we have two things left to do. First, we need to name the area. So I'm going to be rolling on the local seas table. Let's see what we got. 96. The Sunken Verge. No. Uh, Sunken. Yeah, let's go with the Sunken Verge. That's kind of the thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to make sense. Like, sunken does mean it can mean more than just underwater. So, yeah, I'll keep that name. I'll write it down here in my navigation chart. Um. All right. So there is only one thing left before we get started, and that is to set the scene. What is the situation for your character at the start of the campaign? Are you aboard a ship traveling overland, arriving at a settlement, being a little? So I think I'm going to make this simple. She is arriving on as she is or either arriving or all about to arrive at Darkfall in order to meet up her contact within the fallen principality in hopes of gaining information. Maybe she's looking for something that allows her to get ready to sail for more habitated waters. So she's on her ship. She's on her ship, on its way to uh to the city. But what's going to be our inciting incident? Huh. Let's see here. Our inciting incident will be action. Let's do this. Let's do action plus theme. We will do this first, and then we will see where it takes us. 43. No, it's 49. 49 is follow 70. Follow protection. Hmm. No, maybe. Okay. Follow protection. So maybe she's got to. Maybe it has. She needs to be guided in, but something happens on the way. Something gets in the way. The ship. Maybe the ship gets attacked or something. Um. Maybe the town gets attacked. Maybe the city gets attacked by someone. This is a cursed city. There's lots of things that could go after it. Yes. Yes. I think I can make that work. I'd say the city falls under attack and she needs to get to her contact, to get to the harbor and get to her contact And I think that's how we're going to start. But that, of course, is a story for next time. Yes, that is the beginning of this little adventure across the sandy seas. And our little Sundered Isles campaign. I know there's some people in the Discord that are very excited for this, so hopefully they will like it. Um, hopefully the next part will be much shorter than this. Uh, yeah. So, yeah, let's get going. Let's see where things go, and I'll see you upon the sandy seas.